From Central Indiana's #1 news source, this is Fox 59 Tonight.
Hey, good evening. Thank you for joining us here on Fox 59 Tonight. Hang on, collar's doing something weird. I'm Cameron Riddle. Thanks for downloading our Fox 59 Smart TV app. You can find it on your Roku, Apple TV, or your Fire TV. And if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you never miss any of the conversations that we have every night at 8 o'clock right here, talking about what's happening from the White House to your house. And in your house this time of year, it is back to school time. We've got first day of schools happening all this week and next week. Yes, in July and early August. In Indiana, we go back to school. God bless all the teachers and school staff. And here we go. After you get out of school, though, most people have to have the conversation about, do I want to go to college? Now, for a lot of us, it's figuring out the first question is, okay, if you want to go to college, how will we afford it? There are scholarships out there. There's probably a scholarship literally for everything. But finding them is the key. Not only finding them, but knowing where to look, knowing what to say, knowing when to do it are all keys that you need to know. But there are people who spend their entire day trying to figure out where these things are so they can help other people. One of the people who does that is in our studio right now. For those of you who are viewers of Fox 59, you'll recognize this face here, Derrick Wilkerson, long time, as we said, almost original member of Fox 59, but is back today, is retired from the airwaves, but off the air is still giving back to the community as a pre-collegiate specialist, where Derrick's job is to help people find scholarship. Derrick Wilkerson, thanks for coming on, man.
It is a blast. Thank you for inviting me today.
I am looking forward to hearing all the knowledge that you have. I've done some of these stories before, when it's back to school time about where do you look for scholarships. A lot of us don't think about scholarships, one, until you see that bill. So you're already in school. And then some of them, it's that spring that you're getting ready to start school. And now you're kind of thinking, but I would assume that you would say it is never too early to find and start looking for these scholarship opportunities.
You are correct. It is never too early to start looking for scholarships and identifying what scholarships are out there, what types of scholarships might be a fit for you and your particular needs and or interests. So when you start looking, a lot of parents, they start looking in middle school. Mm-hmm. Some start looking when their students are in ninth grade. If I were suggesting, I would say start looking when your student is in ninth grade. And looking for scholarships can be based on a couple of different things. Mm-hmm. First, you base it on what your interests are, your academic and or professional interests are. You can do it like that. You can also do it based on what types of schools you're interested in, what colleges, in-state, out-of-state. You look at your financial needs as a family. If you're a family that, say you have the middle income, a medium income, mm-hmm. and you have 4 children, and you have 2 children that will be in high school together, and then another 2 that will be in high school together later on, then you definitely want to look at scholarships, in-state and out-of-state. All those types of logistics can play a role.
So, is the statement true where I said there's probably a scholarship for everything? Would you agree with that?
That's funny, but it actually is true. There are scholarships out there for crazy things like a person who's left-handed, a person who's right-handed, a person who maybe has dyslexia. Mm-hmm. There are scholarships for people who have physical impairments. Mm-hmm. There are scholarships for people who even have, I know it sounds crazy, but maybe you have a certain color hair. Mm-hmm. It can be so many things that you have that make you unique. We'll say it like mm-hmm, that. Mm-hmm. There are scholarships for that. There are scholarships for people who don't read very well, say by reading a book. Mm-hmm. They learn better by listening with the ear mm-hmm. to hear things that they're reading. So there are scholarships for everybody. You have to be willing to look. You have to be willing to be flexible. And you just have to be willing to do the research. And don't expect that the scholarships are just going to come to you. One of the mistakes parents make and students make mm-hmm. they treat their school counselors
Mm-hmm.
as if that person is supposed to find scholarships and let them know about them. Well, the truth is, most school counselors will have, you may have 300,
Mm-hmm.
400, maybe even 500,
Mm-hmm.
depending on what school, of students that you have to see
Mm-hmm.
throughout the school year. Let's say 150 of those students
Mm-hmm.
are seniors. I don't know how you find scholarships for 200 different people
Mm-hmm.
because everybody has different needs, wants, desires. And then we haven't even looked at the grade point average and the SAT scores, ACT scores. So counselors they can't do all of that for you. So that's why it's incumbent upon parents and students to work together as a team, because going to college to me is a team effort. It's a
Mm-hmm.
family decision.
Mm-hmm.
So if that team puts together parameters, who's going to do what, who's going to be the captain,
Mm-hmm.
who's going to be the assistant captain, all those things, now you can work together and work your strategy on accessing scholarships.
What would you tell people if they say who don't think that that maybe it's too much work? Because the reality is, you get these student loans and they're coming for you. I mean, they're calling. I keep getting this call. I'm like, I don't think I'm going to answer that. And I would have had the opportunity. Apparently, we missed an opportunity that I was supposed to be a 21st century scholar. We talked about. I did a story with him. Like, there's a way that we can help you try to get some of that back. So I really need to follow up on that. But my point is, if you can put in the work to get the scholarships, you don't have to deal with what I'm dealing with now, and that's these people asking for their money back.
Correct. Finding scholarships is a big deal. Let's say if you already know you have a good student, let's say your kid is in middle school right
Mm-hmm.
now and they make A's and B's.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If they continue to make A's and B's, then that student is easily going to be a potential scholarship student when they get to high school, because you assume they're going to continue to perform the way they have been.
Mm-hmm.
So you look at those things, you say, okay, then let's start looking at scholarships where my student potentially meets the criteria
Okay.
with the grade point average.
Okay.
That's a very important piece right there. You have to understand the scholarship game. A lot of times I meet with the student, okay, what's your grade point average? I'll ask them, but I'm going to look it up in the system. Let's say I have a 3.0. I say 50% of the time that means I have either that means I have a 3.0 that's weighted, or it means I got a 3.0 the last semester because I did really good. Either way, it's not the true picture. So what I look at their transcript, and unweighted means I have a 3.0 grade point average on the classes I've taken, and unweighted means there's no additional weight. Your classes get weighted when you take AP courses or international baccalaureate courses, which are IB courses. For example, let's say you make a B in an AP course, then that B may be worth 4 points as opposed to 3 points. You feel me? So that makes it a weighted grade point average because the class was more rigorous than just say it's a math class, an AP math class, and I make a B, which is normally worth 3 points. I may get 4 points in the weighted situation. So if it's if I take a regular math course and I make a B, which is worth 3 points, I get 3 points. So colleges like to be able to weigh things evenly for kids. So whatever class you take, no matter what level it is, if you make 3 points, which is a B, then they want to look at everything unweighted, because that way they can assess your scores evenly across the board. Because different schools weigh their grades differently. They weight the grades differently. So it's important to know unweighted grade point average. That's the first thing I want to know. Is if your unweighted grade point average is 3.0 or higher, we're in the scholarship game. If it's below 3.0, then there are still scholarships available, but not as many available, because 3.0 is the beginning of the good money. That there is a starting point. So we look at that first, and you have to be honest about your student, because the truth is, schools, organizations don't give you scholarships because you're nice.
Right.
For the most part, they don't give you scholarships because you're a nice person, you smile and you can shine. They give you scholarships because you've shown that academically you're willing to put in the work, you're willing to perform at a high level, consistently at a high level. Because A scholarship, let's say if you're a college, a scholarship is an investment
Mm-hmm.
into this student, because what do we want? We want a student to graduate, do well academically, do well with internships, go out there, get a job, or become an entrepreneur. You had a great college experience, and guess what? You're going to probably be a donor. You're going to be an advocate for our university. So scholarships are an investment in you. Even if you're an organization giving scholarships, if we give you this scholarship, we want you to go graduate, because now you can come back and be a advocate for our scholarship program, and you're a success story for us. So
Right.
it's still an investment into people, into human capital.
So, Derrick, I hope we're still on. I got 3 monitors over here, and this one went away. That's the main one controlling the show, but I can still see us. So we're just going to keep going.
Yes.
I deserve a scholarship for running all this over here. So, have to look for that. What are the most random things that people probably take for granted? Like you mentioned the left hand and right hand thing, but there are scholarships for people who, obviously parents were in the military or police officers, first responders, and all these different things. Where do you even start? Because I would like to find like some of the most random ones, and they don't always add up to a lot of money. Like, it may be $100 scholarship or something, but get a couple of those. Now you bought a laptop or whatever.
Okay. First of all, when we look at scholarships, ideally we want to go for scholarships that offer $500 or more.
Okay.
That's what I think of. Because the $100 and $200, man, do you know how many scholarships you got to apply for?
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of energy. So you try to get more bang for your buck.
Right.
Not that you turn down anything that comes your way, but you look for more bang for your buck. So let's say if you were looking for scholarships, you haven't looked anywhere, you're just kind of checking it out. You can go on a website. We'll just pick a website. One of the websites on our list today is called scholarships.com.
Scholarships.com. Coming up. Here you go.
Scholarships.com. You go on there, and usually you go on the website, you log in, they'll allow you to register your name, all your information, because they want to know who you are. And then you're going to put in your demographic information. You're probably going to put in what your academic and or career interests are, all those things, because you're creating a profile.
Okay.
And a lot of scholarship sites do the same thing. Well, that's great, because when you do that, then usually you'll get notifications about scholarships that may be in your areas plural of interest.
Okay.
And you get notifications, you can check on things. They're going to have deadlines. They're going to lay out all the criteria. You may need to do essays, things like that. So those kind of websites are awesome because they're nationwide. And usually those scholarships that you find, you can apply those scholarships at whatever school you choose to go to, which means that scholarship is not tied to an individual school. So that's very, very helpful. That's one place. There are other places you can look. We'll pick some places that I never heard of until recently.
Okay.
Unigo.
Okay.
I don't know what that is. unigo.com.
There
Let's
it
look
is.
at that place. Again, another scholarship place where you can go look. You can look and see what they're looking for. You can look at other people that have utilized this system. But as you can see, there are so many places to look for scholarships and see what's out there. And that's how you start finding the unique things about people who have special things about themselves, whether you may be blind in one eye, you may be visually impaired, you may have a physical disability where you walk with a limp, or maybe you're in a wheelchair. You may have, it can be any number of things that you'll find where they're looking for people who have certain specialties, is what I like to call them. And so that's how you look. And I suggest that parents and students look. It's very important to me, some parents do all the work. They do that, their kids don't appreciate it, and they don't understand how to go fish themselves.
Right.
So I always suggest that students and parents work together as a team when they look for scholarships and research scholarships, because they're going to converse, they're going to interact, and both are going to appreciate the process and the journey, and you actually become closer.
So I'm reading this one, and this one is this is a scholarship all about education scholarship, award amount $3,000.
Yes.
Deadline is in April of 2026.
Okay.
It's open to 14 years or older. Must be this award is for U.S. students, must be a legal U.S. resident. The submit an online response to the question, how will a $3,000 scholarship for education make a difference in your life? 250 words or less. That is not a lot of words. Best person wins. Okay, how do we win this?
How do you win that scholarship? One, I say always be truthful, but a person who can tell a good story, and telling a good story means telling your story in a truthful way, in a way that is organic, interesting. If you can do that, you can definitely earn scholarships based on essays, because essays, people like to read a good story. They like to read a story that sounds true, that feels authentic, and they want to feel something when they read it. If you just say, I help me pay for my education because my mom's out of work, she's a single mom, and I have to babysit my two brothers and sisters every day when I come home from school. So we really need this money so that I can afford to go to a school where I can actually live on campus as opposed to living at home and not being fully immersed in the college environment by living on the yard. Well, so far, I think that's a pretty good story. I've laid out a reason that somebody will say, wow, babysits his younger brother and sister, mom is a single mom, wants to live on campus because he wants to be fully immersed in the academic environment. And we all know that attending college, you have more access to all your tools and resources when you live on campus than when you don't live on campus. That's regardless whether you live at home or live in an apartment. So far, you've laid out a pretty good case to be considered for this scholarship. All you did was tell the truth and tell your story. And remember, everybody has a story. We have a family history. We have unique things that have happened to us or we've experienced. You use that to your benefit.
And again, 250 words is not a lot. That's a page.
Yeah.
And so now I'm looking, because you said think of the scholarships that are based off of states. So I'm gonna see if this one let me. They always want you to sign in, but I'm trying to find pull up some that may pop up in there. Here you go. These are in alphabetical order. Let's see if we click on Indiana's. There's a total of $13 million related to Indiana scholarships available.
I'll tell you what. Let's go to a website where you're going to look up all the. We'll see all of these specifically Indiana scholarships.
Okay.
Top 106 Indiana scholarships.
Okay, I'll pull that one up here in a sec.
And it's going to bring up 106 scholarships that are unique to Indiana. Since we're in Indiana, I think people might appreciate that. Top 106 Indiana scholarships. And that should bring up a website that's going to show you things like, and there's a Frank O'Bannon scholarship, there's a Mitch Daniels scholarship.
Yes.
You see all those things in the criteria. And, I think the Mitch Daniels one, I think that's the one where you graduate early. You get it for graduating early.
So go ahead. Well, here's Frank O'Bannon. You just mentioned that one. Let's see. You just have to, the amount each recipient receives is dependent on what type of school they will be attending. Eligibility for the grant is based on financial needs based on FAFSA. And
what that means, usually, a lot of times they don't tell you that, is that basically if you qualify for free and reduced lunch, that means you're going to qualify for the Pell Grant and you're still going to qualify for those state grants as well. And that Frank O'Bannon scholarship is a state grant type of deal.
So does that mean you qualify more for the Frank O'Bannon, or do they look at it and say, well, you can get help other places, maybe we don't give this one to you?
Basically, if you qualify for free and reduced lunch, that means you have a certain income level.
Okay.
So with that, you usually qualify. You're going to qualify for the Pell Grant, the federal Pell Grant, and then state Pell Grants because of your family income. This is just based on family income. And so there you go.
So I'm looking. I see Mitch Daniels.
Yes.
Graduate early, worth $4,000 for a college freshman. This is a one-time $4,000 scholarship for a student graduated at least 1 year early from a publicly supported Indiana high school to be eligible. You must have attended an Indiana high school on a full-time equivalent basis, or at least the last 2 semesters before graduating. Must have been awarded a minimum of 40 of the Core 40 Indiana high school diploma by the end of grade 11, including any summer course, and must not have been enrolled in any public supported high school for any part of a 4th year. So you literally have to graduate early to
Yes,
get
you
this.
graduated early. And then another piece of that to remember is said it's a one-time offer.
Mhm.
It's not a renewable
Can't come back.
scholarship. So basically this scholarship, you get it, and it's for incoming freshmen or first-time college students. And so you get it one time. So it's not renewable, meaning you don't get it for your sophomore year or
Mhm.
your second year, third year, and fourth year. So that's important to understand, because sometimes people get scholarships and say, oh yeah, I got this amount.
Mhm.
Everything's covered, not understanding, well, 2 of your scholarships are just one time only.
Mhm.
So next year, there's $10,000 you're going to be missing because of those scholarships won't be there for you. So that's also important to understand the criteria of those scholarships. So renewable scholarships, oh man, those things are really, really great, because if it's renewable,
Mhm.
that means you can get this scholarship as long as you maintain a certain grade point average,
Mhm.
take a certain number of course hours every semester, and it's renewable for, say, the next 3 years, which can get you through 4 years of college. So those kind of things are important to remember as well as you navigate the scholarship game.
Well, here's a nice little one that just popped up.
Okay.
This is for University of Indianapolis. This is on Unigo. University of Indianapolis Transfer Academic Award, $15,000. This award is available to an undergraduate who are planning to attend the University of Indianapolis as a transfer student. You must have at least 15 credits to transfer and a grade point average of 2.0 to 2.7. So, I mean, 15,000, now that's a good one if you're going to transfer.
That's a big deal, because remember, we have Ivy Tech Community College.
Right.
So you can go to Ivy Tech for basically, I don't want to say free, but the
Mhm.
cost is so low.
Mhm.
Of course, they don't have on-campus housing, so you stay at home.
Mhm.
But you could go there, do well your first year,
Mhm.
apply to this particular college, and wow, you've got $15,000 to attend.
Mhm.
I think you said you just have to have like a 2.7
Mhm.
grade point average.
Mhm. 2.0 to 2.7.
If you can't make a 2.0 to a 2.7, then you shouldn't be in college.
Yeah, you aren't
right?
passing class anyway then.
So that's a scholarship that's attainable for basically anybody who's in college.
Mhm.
And so that's good to know. This is how you find out about these resources. That's why I picked the Indiana side as well, for so many students to look at.
This is these are all, I mean, they're all kind of sitting right there under your nose.
Sure.
Is it the more you become the more odd of a scholarship that you try to go for? Like if I try to find the scholarship for the son of a federal air marshal, as my dad was, that scholarship may exist, but you're going to get $100.
I would say this. The odd scholarships that fit a tiny area,
Mhm.
those are harder to find and to locate. So if you look more broadly,
Mhm.
let's start, for example, let's say I am interested in being an electrical engineer.
Mhm.
All right. So easy thing to do, you can just Google, or you can go on any of these websites we're talking about,
Mhm.
engineering scholarships. Look there first,
Mhm.
and then you want to see if there's anything specific for electrical engineering,
Mhm.
or if it's broad enough that you can be electrical engineering, civil, or mechanical engineering.
Mhm.
Look in your areas of interest first. I do that. Then, of course, you also look at colleges that you're interested in attending. And then you look at the careers that you're interested in, and you look for scholarships that kind of match that
Mhm.
when you're looking for scholarships just in general. All right. Another way of looking for scholarships is kind of identify colleges that you're interested in
Okay.
that have your major,
Mhm.
which means your academic area of interest,
Mhm.
and or have career tracks that are of your area of interest. And you do that because now that allows you to do something which is called looking at institutional scholarships.
Mm-hmm.
Institutional scholarships is just a pretty word for scholarships at that college.
Right.
Okay.
But that helps narrow it down so that, maybe they're doing a $10,000 scholarship, but now the pool is not everybody in your state. It's just people who want to go
It's kids
to that college.
And in order to qualify for that scholarship, let's look at the criteria.
Mm-hmm.
You look at the criteria. Let's say I want to be electrical engineering. They're probably going to say your grade point average probably needs to be a 3.5.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to say your SAT score needs to be maybe, let's say, 1260, or your ACT score needs to be, let's say, 25.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, and that gets us into another area, because what happens is when people tell you got to make good grades to
Mm-hmm.
qualify for
Mm-hmm.
scholarships, that's true. That sounds good. But what they leave out is most of the top level scholarships want a strong grade point average and an ACT or an SAT score,
Mm-hmm.
because they want to see how you did on those tests.
Mm-hmm.
So when you look at the criteria, know that, because then when you take your SAT or ACT, you have an idea of what you need to do to put yourself in the strong scholarship criteria area. Because at the end of the day, because after COVID, so many colleges said, well, you don't need ACT or SAT scores to get admitted.
Right.
So you know what that means in the ears of a student.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I
don't
don't
have to
need that
worry.
for scholarships
Yeah.
either.
Yes.
That's not true. And so it's very important to remember that. And that's why it's important for students to take the SAT and the ACT. I suggest take them both.
Mm-hmm.
You take them both the second semester of your junior year. And if you take it in the summer, that's fine too. But I would start taking it that second semester of junior year,
Mm-hmm.
because if you don't get the score that you like, or you want to score higher, then you can have time to retake it again,
Mm-hmm.
Either before the start of your senior year or as early as possible during the first semester of your
Mm-hmm.
senior year. Because at the end of the day, the scholarship criteria doesn't change.
Mm-hmm.
And again, they don't give you scholarships because you're nice.
Right.
So you may
Right.
have a 3.7 grade point average, but you don't have an ACT score or an SAT score. We can't even consider you because you don't meet the criteria,
Mm-hmm.
or your score isn't a strong score. So now you take it again, and then you maybe take a prep course to prepare you for the exam, to kind of refresh you. And so you can potentially do a better job on that score to put you in the top level scholarship game. And I call it a game, but it's a serious game because, personally, I work with lots of students
Mm-hmm.
who have gone to school on academic scholarships.
Mm-hmm.
And the academic scholarship is awesome, and institutional academic scholarships. And it's so awesome because basically you when they offer you the scholarship, you sign it. And once you sign it, send it back to the school.
Mm-hmm.
It's a contract. They got to honor the contract.
Mm-hmm.
The contract says you need to maintain a certain grade point average.
Mm-hmm.
You need to maintain taking at least 15 or 12 credit hours, depending on the number, every semester. And as long as you do what you're supposed to do, your scholarship is there and it can't be removed. I've had a number of student athletes, including my own, go to college, play sports, but they don't accept the athletic scholarship. They accept the academic scholarship, because if you get hurt, your coach changes, your position coach changes, maybe you don't love the sport the way you used to.
Mm-hmm.
You're getting paid to make good grades, be a good citizen, which is what you've been doing. So you're getting paid just to be you. So your scholarship doesn't go away. So that's another option for student athletes as well. Some get stuck on, I want to go with the scholarship money, but man, the academic money
Mm-hmm.
is where it's at.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't change. If you don't change, the scholarship doesn't change. It's there for all 4 years. So that's another thing to look at with a lot of my student athletes. We've had a lot from the school where I work. I work for Pike High School, in
Mm-hmm.
the Metropolitan School District of Pike Township. We've had a lot of athletes go to school on academic scholarships, and they were grateful that they did that because they control their destiny. We'll say it like that.
We didn't talk about this off the top, but how did you Well, I guess we can go all the way back. How do we go from being here at Fox 59 as TV reporter to helping people find scholarships? I know for a while you were actually doing both.
Okay. My mother was a school teacher. She taught first grade in Anderson Community Schools in Anderson, Indiana. So, I grew up, I think by the time I was in third grade, I knew I was going to college.
Okay.
And so I knew I was going to school, and she always wanted us to promise her that we would all get our master's degrees. And, my dad, he worked for General Motors, but in his part-time life, he was the program director at the Anderson Boys and Girls Club. So he coached sports, he did co-ed groups, Black history groups, all kind of stuff like that. So I grew up with education being very valuable to my family. And I played sports, I played football in high school and college and all that kind of good stuff. And everything in my whole life experience prepared me to do what I do now. It turned out that when I started having kids with my wife, we started a travel football team.
Okay.
A little 5th and 6th grade travel football team. We started the team. I was still working here at Fox 59. And in fact, one of the graphic artists here at Fox 59 designed our logo for the Pike Junior Red Devils.
Okay.
So it's a real story. And I'm doing that. Then I had cousins who were going to college who were athletes. They needed somebody to be their recruiting coordinator. So I volunteered to be the recruiting coordinator, working with the colleges, the schools, taking them on visits, all that. Then we had cousins and friends who were going to college just to go to college, not non-athlete. So I'm doing all this stuff. I'm getting pretty good at it on accident, right? And next thing you know, I'm doing workshops for different schools, for churches. And I did a workshop for Pike Township a couple of times. And they said, you know what? Could you come here and do that for our student athletes? Could you do that for our students? And it just so happened there was a woman named Dr. Ruth Woods who was already at Pike Township doing the same thing that I was doing, just on the academic end. We didn't know each other, but we were doing the same type of work. And so anyway, they offered me a job, and I've been doing it ever since for Pike Township School District. And it's been a lot of fun. So basically, I got prepared for my next career while I was still here at Fox 59, not knowing I was preparing myself for my next career.
Since I have you, I have been asking. I've brought in folks on the team to come in and do the show. Maybe we'll have to do a show about just your time here and what you saw, because you were here in the heyday of TV.
Yes.
In the good old days, as everybody likes to talk about. And so I know you have some stories on that. But
yes.
What you said you were the first person to replace a person who worked here. So you have the original people who were hired and turned the station, put it on the air. Obviously, people have to leave at some point. That's when you came.
Actually, Fox 59 News started in 1991. And I came 9 months later in 1992. When I came, I had no idea that I was going to be the first African-American on-air news person for Fox 59. Chris Wright was already here. He was the weather person. And this is a story I've never even spoke to Chris about it, but Chris was sort of instrumental in me coming here. Chris and Otis Jones, who was a photographer here.
I worked with Otis at Channel 6.
Otis and I grew up together.
Okay.
And we've been friends since we were kids. And of course, Otis helped bring me here. And Chris was important in making sure that I got paid right. It was funny because we've never had the conversation. He's never mentioned it. But behind the scenes, he did some things to make sure, make sure you don't lowball this person or whatever. I've never told this story on the air before. And I've never spoken with Chris about it. But he never mentioned it, of course. And so Chris Wright looked out for me before I even met Chris Wright.
How did you find out about that?
How did I find out? I found out through somebody else. Chris told somebody that he went in and made sure that they didn't do whoever this brother wrong or whatever that means. But Chris and I have never talked about it.
Okay.
So one of these days I'll have to tell him thank you.
Yeah.
But I didn't tell him thank you because I'm figuring, well, he did it. He didn't want recognition for it. Right. So Chris Wright in my book is always a good brother.
He is. He is indeed. He is. So we got to have you come back and we just talk about that time, because you were here from 91 to 2010.
Yes. And I tell you, I didn't know that I was the first on-air Black news personality or
Mhm.
person
Mm-hmm.
till I arrived. I'm like, oh wow,
Because where are you from?
I'm from Anderson, Indiana.
Correct. But that was the first Fox 59 didn't exist before then.
It did not exist, and so I was. To be honest with you, it was an honor.
Mm-hmm.
There was also a community responsibility,
Mm-hmm.
I would say, that comes with that whole thing. And also, it was the first time that I wasn't the only African American on the air,
Mm-hmm.
period,
Mm-hmm.
at a station where I worked.
Mm-hmm.
That had never happened
Mm-hmm.
before. And I never worked with an African American. No, I worked with one African American news photographer
Mm-hmm.
at the station where I was, but that was the first time. And I came here, we had 4 guys. I'm like, oh, wow,
Wow.
what's going on? Where all these people come from? But yeah, it was a blast. But it gave me the opportunity to come home and work, and the opportunity to do things in my own community
Mm-hmm.
that I appreciated because it was special to
Mm-hmm.
me. I
Mm-hmm.
consider it home. So it was a big deal for me.
Well, telling stories, yeah, I definitely got to have you come back because telling stories from 91
Yeah,
to 2010, think of how much the world changed in that time. A lot.
it did change a lot.
And you had a front row seat to it. So yeah, we'll definitely have to have you come back and we'll chat some of that up. But we got a couple minutes left here. I blew
Okay.
through the commercial break, so we'll just do that part at the end.
Okay.
So as you transitioned into scholarships, obviously this feels very rewarding for you because you can see the fruits of your labor when these guys and gals get these scholarships and they're not
Yes.
in debt going off to school.
Yes. One of the things that's been a joy for me, I happen to specialize in HBCUs, historically
Okay.
black colleges and universities. I specialize in connecting with those schools because, again, it was just something, an accident. It just kind of happened over time.
Mm-hmm.
It happened that a lot of students I was working with were interested in going to historically black colleges. So we developed a network, and my wife and I actually started taking kids on college visits to different black colleges
Mm-hmm.
because there were kids that wanted to go and visit and their parents weren't able to take them. So we take 6, 7 people. We
Mm-hmm.
take 2 cars at times, whatever, even set up bus trips at times as well. And so for me, it's been very rewarding because kids and families would like to know what their opportunities are. And a lot of times they think their only opportunities are in the state of Indiana. And we wanted to give them other opportunities outside of the state. So we also helped create an HBCU pipeline,
Mm-hmm.
working with organizations like the Indianapolis Black Alumni Council,
Okay.
which of course for years has put on the HBCU College Fair. And that's been such a joy to be a part of that and to see kids smile,
Mm-hmm.
to see families change their trajectory, to see kids become first-time college
Mm-hmm.
students and
Mm-hmm.
first-time college graduates, to see kids go off and gain new family, to see kids go to a college and be treated with love and be treated with dignity, to gain a connection for life. Because a lot of times when you go to college, you end up getting a whole new set of family and friends.
Mm-hmm.
And when you see those kids come back and say, Mr. Wilkerson, I appreciate you for connecting me with that scholarship. I say, hey, man, I connected you to it, but you and your family did all the work.
Right.
You made the good grades. You made the good scores on your tests. Your family molded you and guided you to this moment to be a good citizen and be a good person. And somehow they convinced you to perform consistently
Mm-hmm.
at a high level. So you did all the work. All I did was kind of show you an avenue of how to get there and connect it.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause I don't take any credit for it because I'm not giving kids scholarships. I'm just connecting you and seeing if your information matches. And we kind of take it from there. I'm a cheerleader. I'm a professional cheerleader
Mm-hmm.
for students.
Mm-hmm.
And I cheer you and root you on. I help you look at opportunities, options, and you make the decision. I don't tell anybody where you should go to school. I just show you things to consider.
Are because you're with the kids every day.
Yes.
Are they still interested in college? Because there's been a continuing push for people to do, and I mean it's not completely wrong, to do other things that don't require you to go to college. Because even when I was coming up, we had MySpace, and they were like, learn to code, go to school, learn to code, learn how to build websites, and now an AI thing can build a website. So people are like, yeah, but AI still can't fix your plumbing. So what with all that floating out there, what are the kids saying? What are the kids listening to?
Well, the kids are listening to a couple of things. They do listen to the thing that says, go get a plumber's license, go
Mhm.
become a welder, go get into construction, go do cosmetology, go do something, go get into computers, go get into coding, maybe
Mhm.
become a computer software developer.
Mhm.
You don't have to go to college to do those things.
Mhm.
When students come my way, I tell them this. I say, all those careers are great,
Mhm.
but remember, as long as you're alive,
Mhm.
you're learning.
Mhm.
We're all lifelong learners.
Mhm.
And one of the things that I ask them to consider that at some point you're going to need more knowledge, more information, and improve your skill set. And one of the things that we find to be consistent, especially if you're not self-employed, that when you work for a company or an entity, when they start making decisions about who's going to be the supervisor, who's going to be the manager, who's going to be the boss,
Mhm.
guess what they want? They want a college degree.
Yep.
So you gain this knowledge, you know how to do the job, you know
Mhm.
how to do all of it, but they won't give you the job because the job description says you need a college degree.
Mhm.
And in some cases, you may need a master's degree.
Mhm.
So now you're upset and you're angry because they're giving it to somebody who maybe doesn't know how to do it as well as you,
Yeah.
but they have this piece of paper.
Mhm.
So I tell them, think about that.
Mhm.
In addition, sometimes going to college is great if you wait maybe 2 years after high school because you're more mature, you have some life experience,
Mhm.
and you're motivated.
Mhm.
So guess what? You're going to be a better student at 20 than
Mhm.
you were at 18
Mhm.
entering college for the first time. So there's nothing wrong with getting life experience, but remember, consider going back to college or getting a college degree also gives you a different set of skills. It teaches you how to network. It teaches you writing. It teaches you critical thinking in different ways, and it exposes you to things in a small environment in a short amount of time. That's harder to get if you're out there in the professional world working, paying bills, maybe
Mhm.
raising a family.
Mhm.
So consider that. For my family, getting a college degree is a requirement because my dad once told me, son, I need you to get this college degree
Mhm.
because I want you to have options.
Yep.
That's the other thing. The degree gives you options. Let's say you go into a career in welding.
Mhm.
Let's say you get injured. You can't physically do that work anymore. How do you work?
Mhm.
How do you make money? Versus if you have a college degree, it gives you versatility in types of jobs you can work. You have options, you have flexibility, and you have income options that you otherwise do not have.
Right.
And that's the beauty about the college degree.
Um, and when you tell that to them, is it resonating or are they like, I don't know.
Some kids it resonates with because I always say the word consider.
Consider.
I don't tell them this is what you should do.
Mhm.
You should go work there and then you got to go back to college. No, think about it, but leave your mind open to it. Just open to it.
Mhm.
And then I also tell them this. Okay, when you start working, I want you to think about this. Start looking at who the managers are, who the bosses are.
Mhm.
Who's the person that's telling you what to do? Who's
Mhm.
the person who's giving all the instructions? Are they smarter than you? Do they treat you well?
Mhm.
All these things. Ask yourself these questions
Mhm.
because let's face it, a lot of people they don't have good people skills. They don't know how to treat a person. And the Bible says, treat your neighbor, love your neighbor as yourself.
Mhm.
That's basically treat people good.
Mhm. Mhm.
So think about that. And if you're in a job where you don't have a college degree, you got to take that. If you have a college degree, you can be at a job and maybe you don't like how things are running, you don't like how they treat you, you can leave.
Mhm.
Now, it doesn't mean you're going to get a job that pays you the same in your very next job, but you can leave and go somewhere else and you can find a job.
Right.
You don't have to take it. If you don't have a degree, then you may have to take a lot of stuff because maybe you're making a certain amount of money. Where are you going to go and make the same amount of money? you're going to go into a same situation because
Mhm.
you're going to go into a situation where you have no control, you have no power,
Mhm.
and you have no flexibility.
Mhm.
The degree gives you the ability to say, I want to do something else. I want to make some different choices.
Mhm.
But you have a wider range of choices versus a smaller set of choices in order to get paid at a
Mhm.
certain level.
I like that. Consider this, because and one, not everybody is meant to be a leader, and not everybody should be a leader. But and it's good for people to know, like, I could get a degree, but I am not. I don't want to lead the pack. I want to do my thing. So it's good that you tell them to consider and not basically force somebody to try and be a leader when not everybody needs to be at the front.
No, just think about it, because at some point you may find out, you know what? And to think about today's world, you can work from home.
Yeah.
You can work remotely. So again, getting a college degree allows you to do so many jobs that
Mhm.
allow you to work
Mhm. Mhm.
remotely. You can work part-time in the office, part-time at home. I guess unless you work for the state of Indiana. You
Right
gotta work in the
now,
office.
yeah. Now you got to pick or choose. You're in or you're out. I know some people who had to deal with that, and they actually work
Mhm.
in the field majority of the time. So now they don't even have
Sure.
an office. Anyway, um, Derrick, we're just about out of time. But I know you're first of all, if the kids in Pike Township have not heard of you, how can they find you? And do you offer your expertise to anybody who's not in Pike Township?
That's a really good question. The truth of the matter is, I've always had friends, family all across the country
Mhm.
that contact me because I've helped kids go to school who live in Chicago, live
Mhm.
in Maryland, whatever. Because again, they're friends or family or cousin or something like that. I've been doing that since I was here at Fox 59. So that's
Mhm.
something I always work with kids from
Mhm.
everywhere.
Mhm.
But obviously here in Indianapolis, I'm working with kids primarily from
From Pike.
from Pike,
Mhm.
and I'm part of the pre-collegiate initiative. And I guess that means I'm part of the counseling team.
Okay.
I'm on the ledger, as part,
Okay.
because I do have I have a master's in strategic management
Okay.
and a master's in school counseling.
Okay.
So
And did you
that's
have that before you came to Fox? Or you got all that after?
I got all of that after.
Okay.
I got all of that after. I was in my first master's program while I was still here, and then later on I got the school counseling
Okay.
degree. And the school counseling degree was important because when you're doing something and you're doing a pretty good job by trial and error,
Mhm.
you have no idea that there are other things, nuances that you could benefit from knowing
Mhm.
until you go to school and get the school counseling degree, learning how to work with people,
Mhm.
learning how to do harm, to be helpful and not do harm.
Mhm.
As a counselor, there's certain things you shouldn't say or do. You shouldn't tell people. You shouldn't tell them what to do.
Right. Right. Right.
You help
You want a
people.
guide?
You want to guide and show them
Guidance
options.
counselor.
And as you counsel, one of the things you learn, people tell you exactly what they need
Mhm.
if you know how to talk to them and have them tell you what they're looking for. And all you're doing is helping them connect their own dots.
Mhm.
And that was an important thing to me. So yeah, but how can they find me? I work for the Metropolitan School District of Pike Township. My phone number is 317-387-2624. I'm on the district website. I'm also the youth league coordinator for our school district. So I'm on the school website.
Okay.
I am easy to find.
Okay. Okay. Well, I know where to find you because Pike High School is just down the street. We could almost walk.
Sure.
Not going to, but you almost could.
And let me say this, our counselors at Pike High School, they do a great job. They really do. They work hard for their students. They show a lot of love and a lot of care, and they want the best for them, and they give them their very best. I see them work, and they do
Mhm.
work hard. I am proud of them and proud to say that I'm a part of that team to a certain degree. Randy Seidella is one of our co-chairs for our counseling department, and Toria Buckley is our college and career resource person, and she does a great job. And of course, Dr. Ruth Woods and Pre-Collegiate Initiative. But we have a great team of people. Love working with them.
Derrick, thanks for coming to bring some of your expertise. I know there's so much. There's all these different websites. We went through a bunch of them, but I know one of the things that you pointed out is to know the criteria and know the deadlines of these scholarships. So as you're searching, keep those in mind and prioritize the ones that are due this year. Do those first. Ones next year, do those after.
And there are strategies to researching colleges and connecting with scholarships and even just connecting with going to the right college for you. That's a whole nother conversation. But I got a whole thing that I do on strategies and how you go about picking a school and all that good stuff, because it can't be as simple as, okay, I like that school, I want to go there. Well, you don't even know if that school's a match for you.
Right.
Do they have what you need, what you're looking for? And you don't even know if they like you.
Right.
That's a whole nother thing. But we do that. So what I do, I review transcripts. I go over your transcript with the student. We look at the grades, what they're doing in certain classes, what they're doing, what they're not doing. We've got study guides for them to help them and their parent become a better student in terms of study, in terms of doing your homework, turning things in on time, and just the whole process, because you can't get to a solid ending with A's and B's without a game plan. And then if you're trying to go from being, let's say, a 2.5 student to become stronger, we have strategies on how you do that. You build it, and we can help you become better and stronger. So by the time you get to college, you're just rolling on all cylinders.
All right, man. Well, hey, I appreciate the knowledge. I wish I knew you back when I was going to school, because I got some scholarships, but I could have done more. But also, more importantly than that, obviously, many years after you, I serve in the same role that you did here at Fox 59 as a reporter and as an anchor. And so I got to say thank you to you, because you helped pave the way there. You were the first guy. They're still letting us in here because you didn't mess it up. So thank you.
Right on.
That's going to do it for this edition of Fox 59 tonight. Of course, if you're over in Pike Township, you got a student who's going on. Derrick Wilkerson is the person that you need to know. We're going to have him back so we can talk about the TV in the good old days and all the money that was floating around here. They were just printing it, and it was a good time. And there's all these stories that I hear about. So we'll talk about that on another day and another edition of Fox 59 tonight. I will talk to you on Sunday on the radio on 106.7 WTLC and Hot 100.9 from my show, Open Lines. Until then, another time, we'll talk here on Fox 59 Now. Good night.